Good morning, boys and girls. I hope you had a very happy Easter weekend. Last week we heard the Bible story about what happens on Easter, and that was the good news of Jesus rising from the dead. He wasn't dead anymore on the cross. He came back to life. And now this is the next Bible story that we're going to hear. It's called On the Road at Easter. This is what happened kind of right after Jesus came back to life. Two sad men were walking home. Their friend Jesus had died on the cross and been buried. They were very sad because they missed him. They would miss him so much. Now this was evening on Easter Sunday, so it was just that night. They didn't understand that Jesus was alive. They didn't know he had come back to life. Then all of a sudden, a stranger was walking with the two men. The stranger said, "Why are you so sad?" They told him all about Jesus' death. The stranger said, "Don't you understand? In God's book, the Bible, it says that the Savior would die and become alive again." The stranger also told them other things about God's plan to save us through all that Jesus did, just as he had promised. When the men came back to their house, they invited the stranger to stay for supper. While they were eating, the stranger took the bread, gave thanks, and broke the bread into pieces. All at once, the two men recognized that this wasn't a stranger. Who do you think it was? It was Jesus. And then immediately, Jesus disappeared. The men rushed back to the city. That means they didn't walk, they didn't go on a little jog and take their time. They rushed back and ran as quickly as they could. They were no longer sad. Now they were happy because they had seen Jesus. They knew that Jesus was alive again. They hurried to tell that good news to Jesus' other friends and helpers. Jesus is alive. They were going to share that wonderful news with others, just like Jesus wants us to share the good news with others too. I have another Easter song for us to sing and celebrate today. It goes like this. Easter, Easter, happy, happy Easter, comes to tell us that new life has come. To the trees, the butterflies and flowers, Jesus lives and now is in his heavenly home. So we know that Jesus is still alive in heaven and we'll get to see him one day. The other paper that goes with that Bible story today is just a lot of words, but what I want you to do, or have a grown-up help you do, is cut each part apart so that it's all separate on every single line and mix them all up. When you're done mixing each strip of paper up, then I want you to put them back in order. That means you have to find number 1 first, then number 2, all the way down to 16. You can just leave them in order on the table or on the floor, or you could glue them back in order onto a different piece of paper. When you're done putting them all in order, you can have a grown-up help you read that story again in order so that it makes sense, just like when I read it to you. I have one more project. If you haven't done all of your worksheets yet, I want you to do this one that I gave you. It's an Easter egg shape, kind of like an oval, and this is to practice your fine motor skills and tracing all those different lines and different patterns. There's some zigzags, there's some swirls, so I want you to practice tracing those. When you're done tracing, if you want to practice cutting, you could practice cutting those lines too and cut it apart. So those are some things for you to work on today. I hope you had a happy Easter again, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.